Hello everybody and welcome to a new series. Welcome to part 1 of What If Himoto Midoriya Had a Twin Sister. If you enjoy the series, be sure to leave a like for more. 150 likes and I'll start working on the next part. Also be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to help out the channel. If you have any suggestions or just want to talk to me, be sure to check out my Discord, link in the description below. I would like to give a shout out to Burke Sullivan for his suggestions for the series. He's one of the people in my Discord and helps me out quite a bit sometimes, so thanks man. Now let's get started and get some things out of the way. As always, Himoto Midoriya is born on July 15th. His birth is nothing out of the ordinary. In this version of events, as Inko holds her son, the doctor says, "Better get ready, ma'am." Inko asks, "What do you mean?" And the doctor says, "The other one is coming." Hisashi asks, Wait, we're having twins?" So on that day, both Himoto Midoriya and his sister, Himoto Midoriya, are born. Time passes as both of the children develop. Hisashi is forced to take a job overseas to be able to pay for his children's education, especially more so in this version since he has 2 kids to take care of instead of 1. At age 3 in a playground, Bakugo and his friends walk towards the kid, with Izuku standing in the way. Bakugo says, "Get out of the way, Deku." Izuku asks, why are you being so mean? You're making him cry, Kachan." Izuku stands tall, readying his fist, trembling in fear. He says, if you keep hurting him, I'll stop you myself." Bakugo says, "You want to pretend to be a hero? You don't stand a chance without a quirk, Deku." They then go in, punching Midoriya. Himoto then shows up, shouting, "Hey, stop it!" She takes a deep breath and then exhausts, shooting fire at the other kids, forcing them to retreat. Bakugo says, "Whatever, let's get out of here." Himoto reaches her hand out and helps Izuku out. "Are you okay?" she asks. Izuku nods and both of them then go home. But a year later, Inko takes both of the children to the hospital. Himoto, being a curious child, starts touching everything around, asking what things are. Inko says, "Settle down now." Dr. Ujiko asks, "So what's the nature of your visit?" Inko says, "Well, you see, my daughter of course has already shown signs like most of the kids in the preschool, but Izuku here hasn't shown any signs of having a quirk, so we came here to see if there's something wrong." Dr. Ujiko says, "We'll run some tests and see what's going on." After some x-rays are taken and a couple other tests, they return to the room. As he looks over the results, and the doctor asks, "So, kid, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And Izuku replies, "A hero!" And Dr. Ujiko puts the results aside and says, "Sorry, kid, not gonna happen." This comment stuns Izuku, making him drop his toy. Himoto grabs it, handing it back to Izuku, but he's unresponsive. Inko says, "Sit back down, Himoto." She turns to Dr. Ujiko and says, "So, you really think there's something wrong then?" Dr. Ujiko says, "My records say that you're a 4th generation quirk user. What powers do you and the boy's father have? And the sister?" Inko says, "Nothing too special. I can levitate small objects to me and my husband can breathe fire. Himoto seems to be able to breathe fire too, although she can kind of control where it moves a bit." Dr. Ujiko says, "Izuku should have already manifested one of these powers, but he hasn't. After viewing his x-rays, I doubt he will anyway." He then proceeds to explain the exact process, this time using Himoto as a point of comparison. The next few years pass by. In this version of events, however, very much unlike the main timeline, Izuku has someone who believes in him and his dream, and even encourages him. She plays with him, trains him a bit, and got him to do fitness training with her. So he's more physically fit and has a bit more combat experience, having practiced with his sister over the years. In the present day at Alderia Junior High, the teacher says, "So as 3rd-year students, it's time to start thinking seriously about your future and what you want to do with your lives. I could pass out some career aptitude tests, but..." The teacher throws all the papers into the air and continues, "Why bother? I know y'all want to go to the hero track." The whole class raises their hands and starts cheering while using their quirks, except Izuku, who sticks close to the desks, writing about Mount Lady, and is quietly raising his hand. The teacher then calms everyone down, saying, yes, you all have some very impressive quirks, but no quirk usage allowed at school. Get a hold of yourselves. Bakugo says, hey teach, don't let me in with this bunch of losers. I'm the real deal, but these guys will be lucky if they end up just sidekicks to some busted D-lister. Bakugo laughs. The class screams in outrage at him. One of the students says, do you think you're better than us, Gatsuki? Bakugo says, bring it on. Himoto looks at him whispering, what an ass. Bakugo lashes out saying, you say something, you damn nerd? The teacher looks at his forms and says, huh, you got some very impressive test results. Maybe you will get into UA. A random student says he's going to try for the national school. And another one says, they only have a 0.2 acceptance rate. It's impossible to get in. Bakugo jumps on his desk and says, that's exactly what's the only place worthy of me. After all, I aced all the mock tests. I'm the only one at this school who stands a chance of getting into UA. The teacher says, oh yeah, don't you want to go to UA too, Midoriya? Izuku? The whole class starts laughing and Bakugo turns around, mad that his moment was stolen. A slam is heard and Himoto stands up saying, what are you all laughing about? Believe it or not, has a better chance of getting to UA than most of you. He's smarter than you and knows his way in a fight. A random student says, yeah, but there's no way that UA will accept a quirkless person like him. Izuku says, actually they got rid of that rule. I could be the first one. Bakugo slams his hand into Izuku's desks. Come on, you can't do anything. You're useless and defenseless. He looks at Izuku to threaten him, and he sees Himoto looking at him with death stare, whispering, try it. I dare you. The teacher says, settle down, you two. I'm sure you don't want to get detention again. The class goes pretty normal from there. After class, Himoto goes out into the hallway to talk to some friends of hers. Bakugo takes the opportunity and walks to Izuku, touching his shoulder. Bakugo says, our talk from earlier isn't over yet, with the touch creating some smoke on Izuku's shoulder. And Bakugo continues, see, I only have your best intentions at heart, so I'll say this, don't even think about applying, or the consequences will be dire. One of Bakugo's friends notices Izuku's notebook, grabbing it. They laugh for a moment after reading the title. Bakugo then grabs it, blows it up, and throws it out the window. Himoto, hearing an explosion, walks into the class, wanting to invite Izuku out too, with her friends, just as Bakugo is leaving and saying, if you want a quirk, you can always take a swan dive off the roof and pray that you'll be born with a quirk in your next life. He passes by Himoto and says, bye, guardian angel. Himoto looks at him furiously and says, see you later, weakling. Himoto then goes with Izuku to get his notebook back in the fishing pond. She extends her invitation for Izuku to join them, but he declines, saying in a sad tone, I'm going to go home to take some notes on the fight earlier. Himoto says, okay, bro. And they both leave in separate directions. But Himoto can't shake the feeling that Izuku is feeling down on himself. Izuku then goes home. On the way, he walks under a bridge, getting attacked by the sludge villain. Luckily, All Might was there to save him. After this, Izuku things progress like in canon, although because of the different convictions and relationships, some of the dialogue would probably be different. Just a rundown of what happens. Izuku gets his notebook signed by All Might. The hero goes to leave, but Izuku grabs onto his leg, following him, causing the trapped sludge villain to fall. Izuku has a talk with All Might where he finds out about his weakened state. All Might tells him that he can't become a hero. In the normal version of events, these would devastate Izuku, but here not so much, because Izuku still has someone that believes in him. When he hears the words, he thinks of her, and motivation returns to him. All Might leaves, seeing an explosion not too far away, and both go there. It's the sludge villain from earlier who now has a new hostage, Katsuki Bakugo. All Might wants to help, but can't since he's already reached his time limit. Upon seeing Bakugo's face, however, Midoriya starts moving and tries to save him, using some blinding tactics in order to get close. Those actions inspire All Might, who pushes past his limits in order to save the two boys. After the fight, Izuku is scolded while All Might and Bakugo are praised. Everyone heads home. However, on his way home, after a strange interaction with Bakugo, All Might shows up and offers Izuku his power, one for all, and offers to train the boy. 2 days later, Izuku is in Dagobah Municipal Beach, pulling a refrigerator with All Might on top of it. He struggles to push and manages to pull it a couple centimeters, unlike the main continuity where he doesn't push it at all. Something to keep in mind is that in this version, Izuku's body is stronger and better prepared for the challenges ahead, due to the time he spent practicing and training with his sister, coupled with the fact that she convinced him to sign up for some self-defense lessons and some other fitness stuff. After exhausting himself moving the fridge 3 meters, Izuku asks All Might why he has to do this. So All Might explains that real heroes are those who serve the community and don't just seek fame. Izuku's training then starts, with him starting to work on the made-to-pass American Dream plan. After about 2 weeks of following the plan, Himoto notices that something's off about her brother. He seems extremely exhausted and is always gone when she gets home. So one day she decides to follow him. Upon seeing him with Small Might, she sees him Small Might turn into All Might. She screams from her hiding spot, "It's All Might! Holy crap!" All Might then walks to her, to where she is hiding, lifting the fridge she is hiding behind. He says, "Hello there, young lady." Midoriya, seeing his sister, asks, "Himoto, what are you doing here?" Himoto says, "Following you. You've been acting weird the last couple of weeks, and I needed to know what was going on. I didn't expect you to be training with All Might, or an All Might imposter, or whatever this guy is." Izuku looks at All Might in a weird way. He sighs, All Might sighs and says, "Fine, kid, you can tell her. I guess she's your sister, so it should be fine." Izuku then explains what's been happening, with All Might choosing him as the successor, and everything else. With a flame passion lit under her, Himoto wants to help and offers herself up for training and other stuff. All Might agrees and adjusts the plans. For the next few months, she assists in training, both helping clean the beach and sparring with Izuku more seriously on off days under the guidance of All Might. So they're learning some actual tactics. After 7 months, it's, let's say, November 13th, they finish clearing the beach. Both siblings fall to the ground exhausted. All Might then returns from heroing and says, "Holy crap, you're done already? I thought it would take at least another week." Himoto says, well, I'm sure I was a deciding factor." All Might says, "Don't get me wrong, without you, I think he would have barely finished in time. Anyway, Izuku, it's time for your reward." All Might goes into his buff form as he says this. Izuku stands at the ready, determined to receive the power. All Might then grabs a strand of hair and says, "Eat this!" This comment stuns both Izuku and Himoto. All Might then explains how the transferring works, and Izuku eats the hair. All Might says, "Great, now next time you're going to meet in a different place. I'll text you where. Both of you come prepared to brawl." 3 days later, both students meet pretty close to UA, where they wait for All Might. All Might shows up, handing both of them some passes and taking them with him. They ask where they're going, but All Might just says it's a surprise. They enter the gates of UA and continue to the training grounds, where another person is waiting. Izuku asks, "Who is that?" All Might says, "That's Recovery Girl. Things can get a bit out of hand when testing your power, so I asked for her help and called in some favors to get you time in the training grounds at UA, where you can practice. Now let's get started." He points at a mannequin and continues, "See that mannequin? I want you to go to it and try unleashing all for one at it. This is to give you a little taste of the power you now hold." Midoriya nods and walks to it. He doesn't know how to activate his power though, so All Might yells from a distance, "Just clench your butt cheeks, kid, and feel yourself unleash the power like opening a dam. Izuku replies, okay. He readies his arm and does what All Might instructed. He punches the mannequin, sending it flying away, hitting the wall and creating a small crack in the wall. Himoto looks at him with her mouth wide open in surprise at the power her brother now wielded. Izuku, after a moment of contemplation, then screams out in pain, and Himoto asks, what's happening? Recovery girl starts walking to him and says, this is why I'm here. She walks towards the boy, healing him, but also issues a warning about her own quirk. The next 2 months they spend training, trying to get Izuku to control One for All better, even getting him to spar with his sister while using their quirks, with his punches being held back enough so that they don't kill her. This method of training seems to work for a while, but after this time, let's say on January 10th, after Izuku suffers a especially heavy injury, Recovery Girl says, I can't keep doing this, All Might. Once was fine, and I kept doing it out of respect, but I can't watch this boy continue to destroy his body in order to progress. There has to be another way. That night, Himoto and Izuku head home together, all talking about their quirks. Izuku asks, how exactly do you use your quirk? Himoto answers, well, that's a tough question to answer. It's something automatic. You don't usually think about it too much, it's like a reflex. But when I watch you, it's like you were always having to turn on and off, like a switch, like you have to consciously think about it. Maybe distribute the energy you have. With my fire, I can concentrate on it and make it more powerful, but that hurts. The best way is to let it flow. Anyway, I hope it helps. I know it's kind of vague. Izuku replies, I think it does, thank you. That night, Izuku spends his time taking notes on a new way to use his quirk, which he spends the next few weeks training and learning how to master it. After all this training, February 24th, the day of the UA entrance exam arrives. Both Izuku and Himoto get ready and head out to UA. They walk through the gates, going to the main hall. While discussing notes for the written exam, they do run into Bakugo. Himoto notes, have you noticed that Kachan has been less aggressive toward you lately? Do you think it's because he was focusing on the entrance exam? Izuku says maybe, although it could also be because he feels like he owes me for saving him from the sludge villain. Who knows? Himoto says, but you failed. All Might had to step in for that. They enter the main hall where President Mike gives his opening speech. Things go pretty much the same. Except Ida doesn't point out Izuku's mumbling because Himoto keeps him under control. They do the written exam, doing pretty well on it, before going to the practical exam. Izuku says, good luck, sis. Himoto says, do your best, Izuku. Let's win this. They then both go to their respective battlegrounds. Izuku's going to B and Himoto to C. Izuku prepares for the exam, stretching this time, not having distractions on his mind, just focused on achieving his current goal. He then hears President Mike start the exercise. He charges up One for All and jumps into the battlefield, smashing a one-pointer before going after a three-pointer, smashing them both with relative ease, using 5% full cal. In the other battle center, the one Himoto is in, she uses her fire breath on a two-pointer, beating it up enough so she can get in its blind spot. She finds a circuit point and melts it, disabling the robot. She thinks, what would Izuku do? As she goes on and continues to the next robot. Not having more knowledge, she tries to strategize like he does. Both siblings use their time wisely, destroying robot after robot to rack up points. After 8 minutes, the 0-point robot is released into both battlefields. In Himoto's battlefield, she just ignores it and keeps on going, racking up some more points. Izuku thinks of doing the same. He takes down a 3-point robot using full cal and, seeing the giant approach, wants to run away. But he hears a scream. He then reacts and, using full cowling, thinks, what would Himoto do? While everyone else runs away, he runs towards the scream, thinking, what will Himoto do? He runs at the base of the robot, pulling all the rubble that's on top of the girl out very quickly. He then grabs her and moves out of the way as quickly as possible. He asks, are you okay? Oraka answers, "Fine, just my ankle." The exercise ends and Izuku sets Uraka down. She thanks him for the assist, and everyone then heads home. A week after the events of the entrance exam, two letters arrive at the Midoriya household. The two siblings grab them immediately, being very excited about them. They open the letters, expecting to have done well on the exams, to find holodiscs inside. Izuku asks, "Who goes first?" Himoto says, "You go." Izuku says, "No, you, I insist, you deserve it." Himoto says, "No, you go first." They bicker for a bit, and Himoto gets Izuku in a headlock, until he says, "Fine, I'll go first." Izuku switched the two discs, however, so he plays Himoto's disc first. All Might comes up on the screen and says, "Himoto Midoriya." Himoto looks at Izuku and says, "Well played." All Might continues, "I am here to announce your results. You see, this year I'll be joining UA's esteemed faculty, so I was given the job of announcing the results. I have to congratulate you, for your hard work has paid off a lot. You have managed to rack up a total of 37 combat points and 16 rescue points for helping some of your adversaries out." Izuku starts mumbling, "So there are rescue points on top of regular point system. It's an interesting idea that can help to categorize the heroicness of the individual, and not announcing it beforehand is smart." Himoto nudges him in the shoulder, snapping him out of it. After hearing the results, she says, "It's your turn." They then play Izuku's disc. Again, All Might comes up on screen and congratulates Izuku for a good job. He announces that he got 43 combat points and 23 rescue points for saving the girl and helping a couple of other contestants. Himoto looks at her brother as All Might says he is accepted into the hero course. A couple of tears drip down their faces. She says, "You're such a crybaby." And Izuku says, "Look at yourself." Anyway, this is where I'm leaving it off for today. I do hope you all enjoyed, but don't click off yet. I have a couple of things to say about the story and a couple other things. First, I want to address some story choices, like Midoriya learning folk howl earlier. This was because I thought that his sister would get him to train and pursue his dreams, which would give him the ability to receive one fall earlier. And it took Izuku in the anime about 1 or 2 months to learn folk howl, plus a bit of counseling, so the time frame fits in this version too. I also want to say that if you guys want part 2, please get to 150 likes. If it gets there in the next 2 weeks, I'll release part 2 on February 28th. I do ask for you to subscribe if you are new, and check out my Discord and link in the description below. Until next time, everyone, have an absolutely fantastic day. Bye!